What's up, everybody? Um, the moment you guys been waiting for. This is the Q and A. This is the Q and A. I've been prepping for it since August, so here it is. Okay. First of all, when I'm going to do this Q and A, I'm just gonna like answer everybody's questions and all that. But at the same time, though, you guys can still submit questions on the comment box. I can do another Q and A sometime, though. So this not it's not the only time I do a Q and A. Let me start off with my dude Everett Harden. Who's your favorite MC of all time from each region? That's a dope question. Okay, let me start with East Coast. I would have to say Rakim is my favorite MC from the East Coast, and possibly arguably my favorite MC of all time. I mean, there's no like denying or no questionable reason why a lot of people realize he's a great one of the greatest MC because 1987 was the year like he came out and he was rhyming like well everyone was doing that whole loud kind of like Run DMC kind of rhyming. He came out with like this eternal rapping and stuff like that. Like in my opinion, I feel like him, Big Daddy Kane, and KRS One, they ushered in a new age of hip hop, like a new way of rapping. And so I feel like that's one of the reasons why Rakim that's one of the reasons why Rakim is like those one of those cats that like just change the whole game, you know. Because let's be real, the first all Eric B and Rakim albums, classics in my opinion. Paid in Full, Follow the Leader, Don't Sweat It, Let the Rhythm Hit 'Em, Don't Sweat the Technique. Um, Solo wise, you know, the 18th Letter, that was a very good album, very good album. The Master, that album was good, but at the same time it was still flawed a little bit. I'm gonna get into that once I do a review on that one day. I never really heard of Seventh Seal. I heard some of it, and it was kind of mediocre, but that's mostly due to the production, though. But at the same time, Rakim, he's like my favorite MC from the East Coast. The way he presents himself to the mic, like this dude was influenced by like jazz. The way he raps is like the way you hear like a jazz record, how it so melodic and stuff like that. The Midwest, that's a good one. I'm gonna have to go with Common. Common is one of those MCs that does not change. Like you could always expect him to be who he is, though. Yes, there were some times when he did have a few missteps in his career. Also, a lot of people say the Electric Circus was his worst album. That's actually arguably my top five favorite Common albums. Not a lot of people dug that record. Like he went for like a psychedelic neo soul kind of vibe to it. And Electric Circus, that's like a very slept on album. And even Universal Mind Control, which I view as probably his weakest album, has some dope cuts on it as well. But like, he's like one of those cats. Like he just the smooth brother that we all like and shit like that. He's always dropping knowledgeable lyrics. For example, one of my favorite songs from Common, like one of my favorite songs from him is off Like Water for Chocolate. It's a song called A Film Called Pimp. And that's the one that features MC Light on it. Shout out to MC Light, by the way. And it's like he's the concept of that song is like where he just in the point of view of this like Mac kind of player kind of dude and shit. And then like who would think about making a rap song like that though? Although I know a lot of people didn't make a song like that, but listen to that song, a film called Pimp, and then go back to listen to the other carbon copies of it. That's all I have to say. Common is my favorite MC from the Midwest, and the South, Scarface, definitely Scarface. I mean, if it wasn't for Scarface, there would be no Biggie, Jay Z, Nas, like MCs like that. There would not be any of them because of Scarface. This is a guy that This is the guy that fucking I don't mean to say that, but he changed the face of rap, hip hop and shit like that with the Ghetto Boys. He had a very long and influential career, like everything from the Ghetto Boys, his legendary solo career, Def Jam South, and like he was not afraid to put his own personal life inside of his music. Prime example, um, what's that? The World Is Yours. That album, back his second studio album, which is probably his most slept on album, next to Last of the Dying Breed. Like, it's like a lot of people say it's a southern rap classic. Like the song Now I Fear You. Like he was talking about how he was like the class clown, and how his dad walked out on him, and his stepdad took over, and shit like that. And then if we want to talk about him getting more deep in the lyrics, everybody heard Ghetto Boys, My Mom Playing Tricks on Me. That that album, right, that song off the We Can't Be Stopped, that gave you really insight look at what Scarface is really about. And you can tell he was very haunted by the lyrics. And that's one in my opinion, he's the original king of the South. The original king of the South, in my opinion. Now the West Coast, this is a tricky, very tricky. Because hmm, I have a lot of favorite MCs from the West Coast. So I will have to say, what's that one cat name? Oh, that's my roommate's phone. See, the West Coast, it had like a lot of dope cats though. But like one of my favorite MCs from the West Coast, I can't really give you a definite favorite one, but I say one of my favorite ones is Paris. Because Paris is just like one of those cats that he was like, if you can say he was influenced by Public Enemy, but at the same time he had like a more darker approach to him. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna get into that in a minute because this user actually asked me another question about Paris. So I'm gonna get into the Paris in a minute. All right. Next question from him. Better movie, Menace to Society or Boys in the Hood? Wow, that's another tough question right there. But I'll have to go with I'll have to go with Boys in the Hood because I've seen Boys in the Hood for like back in '07, and it just changed my outlook on like certain things though. I mean, everything about that was a dope movie. Like the acting, you had Ice Cube in his first movie role, Lawrence Fishburne, Angela Bassett, Cuba Gooding Jr. I believe that was his first movie role himself. Yeah, like talented actors. Even Whitman Mayo, the dude who played Grady on Sanford and Son, made a cameo appearance. Very good movie because it was just like it was just very like it was like very twists and turns, like all these twists and turns, and it really represented like that environment at that time though. Now, don't get me wrong, Menace to Society, another classic movie, and I've done a review on that movie too. And if you want to hear my thoughts on that, just go to my channel, type in Menace to Society. And but I have to go with Boys in the Hood. Um, Speaking of Ice Cube, where would you rank Ice Cube's first four albums from favorite to least favorite? Dope question too. Okay, my favorite Ice Cube album is Death Certificate. Classic album. I mean, that's my favorite Ice Cube album because of the fact that this was the Ice Cube when he was really getting political at the same time, and he did not give a fuck about how you felt about it. You know what I'm saying? Like he was just one of those cats that just like songs like "Shoot at the Game," where he's talking about sellout rappers and like Oreos in general. What else? Us, colorblind. I mean, Plus, he was with the Nation of Islam. He was affiliated with the Nation of Islam, as I have to say. And he like that was the album. Like a lot of people say that's like his best album, and I have to agree with that statement too because a lot of stuff he was talking about in that album is still relevant to today. Number two, America's Most Wanted. Um, fresh out of NWA, you know, with the Bomb Squad on the production, and he really laid the groundwork for that kind of style. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of rappers really want to try to emulate that album. Notorious B.I.G. Like I was reading something about Puff, and he said that B was kind of influenced by Ice Cube's America's Most Wanted. So he tried to emulate. I think they tried to emulate that style and stuff like that. And so what I love about America's Most Wanted was like it was just one of those albums where it was a street album, but anybody could dig it though. That's how I see it. Very influential album. That's Ice Cube's most influential album, in my opinion. Third favorite is The Predator. This is his most successful album because it has songs like "It Was a Good Day," which I think that's his biggest hit. I think that's his biggest hit. Yeah. I mean, this is recorded around the L.A. riots, and you can tell by the whole dark nature of the lyrics. You know, another dope album. It's not as influential as the first two, but at the same time, he really did his thing on that album, and a lot of classic songs came out like Dirty Mac, Gangsta Fairy Tale 2, and Lethal Injection. No, this is not a bad album. Don't get me wrong. It's still a very good album. And like this is when he went back to more G Funk kind of style though. And reason why I say that, I mean not G Funk, like gangster rap. The reason why I say that is because if you listen to his first three solo albums, oh, we're gonna tear this motherfucker up. Best song on the album from the Predator. Anyway, when you listen to his first three solo albums, you can tell that it was conscious, but at the same time, it was conscious, but it was still harder and stuff like that. And so, Lethal Injection, that was like his way of his influence by the Chronic, by Dr. Dre, because like it was like more G Funk, like synthesizers was everywhere. A lot of people thought he sold out. Like, don't get me wrong, when I first heard the album, I did not like it. It's not like I didn't like it, but I thought that it was kind of like, okay, well, he's trying to do the whole West Coast, the signature West Coast sound. But over the years, I come to conclude that that's a very dope album, by the way. Like, the way he just, the way like he remind people, oh, I'm still a gangster rapper and stuff like that. And he was still spending conscious stuff too. Very, very good album. I need to review on those two albums. And yeah, I feel like after the West Side Connection Bow Down album, Ice Cube kind of fell off. Yeah, he did fall off because the War and Peace albums were not. I did not like the War and Peace albums. Laugh Now Cry Later had some dope cuts to it. That was a dope album. Raw Footage was a dope album. I Am the West. I heard some of I Am the West and I was not impressed. So yeah. Favorite Scarface album slash song and favorite Geto Boys album slash song. Okay, that's the easy one. Favorite Scarface album is The Diary. I think I mentioned this album countless times. Very good album. I love the fact that it was like a dark, twisted album, like, and the way he puts his lyrics together. Never have I ever like seen. Never has I've seen the MC does shit like that. You know, like I seen a man die. Like, listen to this. He greets his father with his hand, rehabilitate his life, glad to be the man's child. The war is different, see seen him last. And lucky he at last. Like, shit like that. I mean, and like, it's like he personified, like, he could feel the imagery in the lyrics, though. And I think my favorite song off the album was Hand of the Dead Body with Ice Cube and Devin the Dude. I mean, I'm speechless every time. Cause he's talking about how people kind of blame hip hop for everything and stuff like that, but at the same time, it's not always hip hop's fault for that, you know. And a lot of people have made songs like that in the past. A few people made songs like that in the past, and more people have made songs like that in the future. So, yeah. Favorite Scarface song? I would have to say "Smile" from The Untouchables. Excuse me, that song where he did with Tupac. That was actually my first Scarface song I actually listened to. And my only gripe about that song is that people like I know a lot of hip hop heads that they only listen to Tupac's part of the song, but they forget about Scarface's though. And I hate it, cause no disrespect to Tupac, but at the same time though, hmm, at the same time, like I feel like Scarface still did this thing on that song though. Now, the Ghetto Boys' favorite Ghetto Boys album, I would have to say is the Resurrection. That was a very good album, cause like Bushwick, Willie D, and Scarface both came back on that album, and they did their thing, you know. Like he had songs like Ghetto Fantasy, Ghetto Boys and Girls. Still, I mean, the world is to get like I can listen to the whole album from start to finish and shit like that. Favorite Ghetto Boys song? My mind's playing tricks on me. That's my favorite song from them. I mean, self-explanatory. Like that's like another first song I heard from them, and the video was. I think the video is what made me love the song more because I mean, you had Scarface, with his girl problems, and you had Willie being chased by. You feel like he's being chased by some guy out to get him. Then you had Bushwick Bill and Halloween, like in this Halloween song. I mean, classic shit right there. Favorite Public Enemy album. He has about two more questions after this. So, wow. To me, it's a tie between "It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back" and "Fear for Black Planet." And I feel like those two albums really made the groundwork for political hip hop. And "It Takes a Nation of Millions," that was a that album shook the hip hop world, in my opinion, because he had songs like where it was just an amazing album. Like he had classic songs like "Night of the Living Bassheads," "Countdown to Armageddon," like "She Watched Channel Zero." I mean, political hip hop is fine. Like you can tell, like they're for like that pro black era and shit. But Fear for Black Planet, oh my god, that album, whew, they went more deeper into that. And let me tell you a little backstory. I believe this album was supposed to be released in 1989. I think it was supposed to be released in 1989, but if you know your Public Enemy history, Professor Griff was under fire for he made some anti-Semitic remarks, and so I think that they pushed the whole album to like the year after, because they had to wait till controversy to die down. And they went more deeper with the lyrics, and the production was way better in my opinion. Like classic songs like "Polly Want a Cracker," 911 is a joke. What's that one song? Sorry, I got cheat. I'm sorry, I got cheat with you. Brothers got to work it out. I mean, brother got to work it out. I think that album, that song, and "Burn Hollywood Burn," my favorite songs off the album. Stay tuned. I'm gonna do a review on this soon though. I mean, I need to get all the albums though, cause believe it or not, I only got this and "It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back." I know. But at the same time, I see those albums everywhere. I kind of see those albums everywhere I go. So I can just get them anytime. You know what I'm saying? I can just get those albums anytime though. All right. Like I said, if I don't finish everyone's questions, I'm gonna do another Q and A video. So yeah. All right. Second to last question. Favorite Paris album. Hmm. Favorite Paris album. Let me see if I got them. His first three albums are my favorite ones, but his first album, I think it's The Devil Made Me Do It. I don't have to say damn, cause like that album is just so ill. I mean, it's like a more darker twist of political hip hop and shit like that. And Paris does not get the recognition he deserves. He literally does not get the recognition he deserves. I mean, hmm, like you can tell he was heavy into the Black Panther movement and shit like that. And at the same time, though, he was a lot. I feel like his career was kind of like controversial. His career was not the same. Oh shit! I felt like his career was not the same after when he dropped that song Bush Killer back in his second album and shit like that. Because like don't get me, he still had a very dope career, but at the same time, I feel like Bush Killer is kind of like the same thing with when Ice T and Body Count dropped Cop Killer. That's how I see it though. But other than that, his first three albums are my favorite albums from him. But The Devil Made Me Do It, that's my all-time favorite. Dope album. And I first his new album he dropped this year. Very good album. Highly recommend it though. And the last question from this guy, whoever it is, favorite Coogee rap album of all time. I would have to say Wanted Dead or Alive. His second album he did with DJ Polo, which was, in my opinion, that album gave birth to mafioso rap because of the fact that it was very like different. Like, who you know in 1990 that was rapping like that? Like, really though. I mean, classic songs like Erase Racism, Rikers Island, Streets of New York. I mean, he gave like a really gritty look on New York around the early 90s and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, he still kept it in his mafioso persona. And also, like, I believe that like that was like one of the first times you would get to hear G Rap rap very fast, but at the same time you can still understand him. And that's why a lot of MCs like Big Pun was influenced by Cool G Rap and shit. So now, Live and Let Die. That's another album. A lot of people claim that's his favorite Coogee Rap album. That's a good album too, because of the fact that that album was what it is to the East Coast as Ice Cube's America's Most Wanted as is the West Coast. Let me clarify that for you. The main producers in America's Most Wanted was the Bomb Squad. Public Enemies do East Coast. Sir Jinx, Ice Cube's cousin, he produced the majority tracks on that album. I think he produced some tracks and the Trackmasters did a few tracks too. And they gave that album a West Coast sound to it, which was very, very, very good. Like a very distinctive album. And that's actually a close second because that album, whew, it was gritty, it was dark, it was everything you expect from Cool G Rap at that time, though. Like one of my favorite songs from that album is called "Live and Let Die." The title track, and That was my roommate, by the way. So yeah, like once you hear that beat, you like doom 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 doom, and after I think after the fourth bar, you hear that synth like boom boom boom. Like I was like, whoa, what the fuck was that? Like, cause that was a very dope track. That's probably my favorite song off the album. And I need to get my hands on the DJ Polo and Coogee Rap and DJ Polo album because those albums kind of hard to come by. Although they've been re-released by Traffic, it's still hard to come by where I live at. So, and that's all the questions from Everett Harding. All right, Daniel, the Game of 45. What's up, my dude? What's your favorite sport? How old are you, and do you work? Oh, basic question. I love that. Okay. Favorite sport? Wow. I would have to say basketball is my favorite sport. Either basketball, football, and track. Those are my favorite sports and shit. So I used to play those a lot when I was young and shit. I actually did run track back in high school and stuff. I'm actually 19 years old, about to turn 20 in about 2 more weeks and stuff like that. So yeah, Scorpio in the house. And do you work? Yes, I do. I work at Steak and Shake time to time once I go home and stuff like that. Cause I'm actually in school right now. So yeah. All right. Okay. How much time do I have left? Okay, I'm due. I think I can finish these questions. All right, Samaj Glover. Yeah. When are you gonna come out with another mixtape? I'm actually working on a beat tape right now. It's a sequel to my other mixtape, Nostalgia, Simpler Times, and MC He or She wishes to revisit. So yeah, I actually dropped a song on my SoundCloud. So check that out. You know what I'm saying? And it's just gonna be more jazzy because I feel like nostalgia was more psychedelic. This is gonna be more jazzy, so I don't want to give out a lot of information at the moment, but stay tuned and stay tuned for one less color in the rainbow, which I'm gonna explain that more in the future. So okay, Isaac Cervantes, favorite album of all time, any genre, favorite track of all time, any genre. Oh my God, preferred medium to listen to music, CD, digital, vinyl. Oh, this hard ass questions. Okay, so favorite album of all time of any genre. Hip hop, I'm gonna go with Illmatic by Nas. That album, it captured the essence of hip hop. Dope lyricism, unbelievable production. Like that's like an all-star production. DJ Premier, Pete Rock, Q-Tip, Large Professor, and all the LES too. He did his thing too. Um, I mean, every time I think of Illmatic, I always think of like the golden age of hip hop. That album is very unbelievably good. I mean, every time I hear that album, like this is stuff he was talking about. His clever Nas's clever lyricism. I mean, it gets no better than that, in my opinion. Okay, from R&B, soul, wow. I'm gonna have to go with Marvin Gaye's "Here, My Dear." I know I've done a review on that album 2 years ago. That might to a lot of people it's a weird choice, but watch my review on that. I love that album. Like the production, like Marvin Gaye's con- that was like one of his most conceptual albums he has ever done and shit like that. Very very good album right there. Highly recommended. Right there. Rock, Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon. Favorite rock album. Hmm. Everybody and their moms have this album. This is an album that was progressive and psychedelic at the same time. A lot of people think this is their first album. This is not their first album. The first album was released in 1967 called The Piper's Gates of Dawn. The Piper's Gates of Dawn, yeah. That album Very good album. Probably my my fourth favorite album from them. And one thing I love about Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon, was like it's one of those albums you can just listen to and be. It can be sound like it's made today. That's how dope that album is, though. You know what I'm saying? Very unbelievably great album. Um, if you're not a fan of that album, if you're not a fan of Pink Floyd, you should at least be a fan of this album. That's all I have to say. Jazz. Um, I'm gonna go with it's a tie for jazz. John Coltrane, Love Supreme, and Miles Davis, Bitches Brew. Wow. Let me start with Coltrane. See, John Coltrane, he's a cat that's way ahead of his time when it comes to jazz. Like the way he mixes his chords together, he mixes his chords together and shit like that. And like he mixes his chords together and the way he presents himself, like his swagger and very unbelievably good album right there. And excuse me. And like I recently actually got the album too, and I showed it on my vinyl collection. I did that I think last week. Yeah, I did that last week, and that's a very good album. Like the way, like that album influenced not only jazz but it influenced music in period though. So yeah, John Coltrane Love Supreme must have in your collection. Now, Bitches Brew by Miles Davis. This was released at a time when he started being experimental with jazz. Like he wanted to be like, what can I do with jazz that I've not already done? Because let's put it to you this way: Miles Davis, anything Miles Davis does, he either changed the game or he started a trend. Now, before Bitches Brew, the year prior, he dropped In a Silent Way, which is like that's when he started doing like electronic. He started having like more like electronic kind of instruments and like psychedelic rock. He mixed that with jazz and stuff like that. And a lot of people were pissed at Miles Davis around that time. They were like, "What the fuck is this shit? This is not even jazz. This is not even music. Like this is just noise." But like, Bitches Brew. Once they found out what Miles did with In a Silent Way, when Bitches Brew came out, he changed the game again. Literally, you can just change the game again because that album, those two albums, In the Silent Way and Bitches Brew, gave birth to jazz fusion. And jazz fusion, like you hear cats like I think like George Benson. He's a perfect example because George Benson, if you listen to his earlier stuff before he did the breezing era, it was like straight up jazz too. Then once he came out with breezing, like da 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 da, like he started mixing it with R&B and like kind of like a soft adult contemporary sound, and that's when he started like mixing it together and shit like that. And so, excuse me, yeah, and so you could tell he was kind of influenced by Bitches Boo in a way and shit like that. And so Bitches Boo is probably one of Miles Davis' darkest works. Like some of the tracks here, like what's that shit? What's that? Miles Run the Voodoo Down. Whew. Just check out the album. Though. I'm sorry, just check the album out. I don't want to give out too much information about certain albums. Um, okay, so I did hip hop, R&B, rock, jazz. I'm not a country fan, if that's what y'all thinking though. Not really a big country fan like that. I guess I can do subgenres too. But if you're talking about subgenres, like too, like for neo soul, I would have to say Erica Badu's Baduism. I mean that album was very influential. Like here's the thing: D'Angelo's Brown Sugar, Maxwell's Urban Hangout Suite, Erica Badu's Baduism. Those three albums pretty much birthed neo soul. And back in it wasn't called neo soul. It really was not called neo soul.